What's up, internet friends? How we doing today? Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful sunny day here in Coos Bay. And I'm on my way down to Langlois to do sound for the California Honey Drops, who I haven't seen before, but I have it on several good authorities that they're pretty good bands, so it should be fun to run sound for them. So I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. I have terrible hair. There's nothing I can do about it. It's always been terrible, ever since I was little. And now as I'm getting older, it's just, getting more terrible, more wiry and stiff and white and gray as I go along. And if you're the kind of person who cares about that thing, that sort of thing, this isn't the vlog for you anyway. This isn't a fashion vlog. This isn't a hairstyle vlog. I could care less. I couldn't care less. Yeah, I'm the guy who goes to Ross and anything that's under $4 goes in the bag. So that's how I dress, that's how I look, and I just don't care, That's something you're into. You're shallow, and I don't want to deal with you. I don't want you watching my vlog anyway. So today's soundtrack is brought to you by The Deer. You can go ahead and promote The Deer right now. Just got another one of their albums at their show the other night. Man, good show, good show. I did sound for their last show when they were in town down at the Langlois Cheese Factory, and I loved them as a band, and I went ahead and got one of their albums then, and then I went to their show again here recently and got another one of their albums. So yeah, and I think they've only got two, and I got them both now, so unless they got a third one, somebody tell me if they got a third one. So yeah, so if you can hear the background music and you like it at all, go check out The Deer. Unlike actual deer, I love them. I hate actual deer. They always eat my raspberries. So yeah, cryptocurrencies are all back up. A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, significantly, some of them. So those of you who took advantage of the fire sale that I told you about on yesterday. Wow, can't believe it's only been one day since yesterday. Seems like a lot has gone on in the last 24 hours. Less than 24 hours. I mean, that last video I posted wasn't even that long ago. Yeah, a lot has gone on since then. And the market's back up a little bit. So if you did buy a bunch of cryptocurrency yesterday, as I recommended, then you are sitting pretty right now. You're up. So, and there's a lot of speculation right now. I'm gonna talk about the hard fork today, the possible hard fork, the Bitcoin hard fork that's coming up, and some other stuff. But so I mean, just keep in mind that this market is going to be volatile and it's going to be rocky for a while. For a while, definitely this month is going to be volatile and rocky, and next month is probably going to be volatile and rocky as well. Although I hope for big gains in August, depending on what goes on with Bitcoin. So yeah, so this whole vlog number 12, I believe we're on here, is dedicated to my friend Linda. My friend Linda is a Bitcoin enthusiast, and but she's been watching my vlog, and she had a couple of questions, and she said, explain some of these things to me. Explain the hard fork, explain a soft fork, explain what's going on, with all this stuff. And she wanted me to use layman's terms. So I said, okay, I can do that. So here's what's going on. Basically, the people who write the Bitcoin code, right? Bitcoin is open source, so anybody can get the source code of Bitcoin and make alterations and changes and then re-upload it. And then they get approved, or they don't get approved by consensus by the group who manage the Bitcoin code. If you're not familiar with open source and all that kind of stuff, man, you're gonna have to get hip to that really quick, because I think open source is gonna be one of the major driving factors of every industry in our world very, very soon. If it isn't already, I think it kind of is already. So yeah, so open source just means that anybody can get the code anywhere in the world and can make improvements or changes to it and re-upload it. Now that doesn't mean that those changes will get approved and move forward with the project. And sometimes that causes some hurt feelings or some technical disagreements or some governance issues, you know. If you were working on a car and you opened up the hood and adjusted the carburetor a little bit and made some what you felt were improvements, and then later somebody else came back along and looked at the car and tried to, you know, and decided to revert those changes to the carburetor. They decided they liked it better the old way. Then you know, that might make you upset, right? And it's the same thing with Bitcoin right now. What's going on? Basically, since Bitcoin's inception, the traffic has gone up, you know, exponentially, really. So on the Bitcoin network, the changes are taking longer to happen. They're costing more with power and with computational power as well. So, and it's not scaling as well as those of us who are fans would like to see. So, so basically, there's a few different possible solutions for that. There's some people favor making the block size significantly larger. Some people favor making the block size only a little bit larger. Block size being the amount of room on the database that can be modified, I believe, per cycle. And please, we're going to get into some technical issues here, and if anything's wrong with what I'm saying, or there's any kind of clarifications, or if anything I'm saying is inaccurate, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to get some kind of feedback. This is my take on a deeply technical issue that I, you know, barely understand. And keep in mind, you know, I'm an IT guy who's been following Bitcoin now for 5 years. Man, I wish I would have bought a bunch 5 years ago. I was an enthusiast, and I didn't buy. I was just one of those few people who was hip to it, who had heard of it, and didn't do the right thing for myself and my family until much later. I'm glad I got in at 2015 when I did. It was very low then. It was 144. It's currently 230 something, 2300 something today. Very volatile, heading into the possible SegWit, hard fork, all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I could have bought in for much cheaper, much earlier, and be a millionaire now. And my own hesitance and caution and listening to other people ultimately cost me a lot, I think. So, yeah, don't let it happen to you. If you've heard, if this is the first you're hearing of Bitcoin, if you're just thinking about it now, I encourage you to leap before you look. In fact, just in life in general, I encourage you to leap before you look. I think that most people are overly cautious, overly careful, overly concerned, overly worried about stuff, and they limit themselves based on that. And successful people, really successful people, don't do that. You know, the second they see something as an opportunity or a good idea, they leap on it, they pounce. And if you want to be a successful person, that's something you need to incorporate in your life. There's no, I mean, you have one life that we know of, you know, whether you believe in reincarnation or whatever, who knows. But as far as we know, you only live once, and you need to take advantage of those opportunities, of those, you know, the things that you see that could be to your advantage. You need to pounce on those things, and you need to incorporate new information into your worldview as quickly as you can. That's part of the success strategy that really successful people incorporate in their lives, and most people are scared. They're scared little rabbits hiding at home, you know, watching television, you know, scared to get out of their own little bubble and take chances and risks, and that's why I think, you know, ultimately so many people fail to achieve financial freedom, fail to achieve fulfillment in their own life and goals. So anyway, yeah, let's get back to Bitcoin, what's going on August 1st. Basically, August 1st is the deadline for some of these potential changes to be implemented. And by far, I think the one right now with the leading chance to be implemented is called SegWit 2x. And what SegWit does is, and this is something that's already been implemented on some other cryptocurrencies, such as Litecoin, which Litecoin has seen huge gains, and this recent crash didn't hurt it as much as it hurt a lot of the other cryptocurrencies. Litecoin's doing very well, and I believe that the SegWit has something to do with that. So what SegWit is basically allows some of the changes to be made temporarily outside of the core network, alleviating some of that congestion. And again, if I'm getting some of this wrong, please correct me. I will definitely retract, update, clarify any of these issues. So people want to do that on Bitcoin as well. They want to follow that Litecoin model that's already been implemented and do that with Bitcoin, hoping that that will solve some of these issues. And it likely will solve some of these issues. And then they're also talking about increasing the block size as well, although not radically. Like, I guess some of the miners want to increase the block size a lot. The people who are actually mining Bitcoin, the large companies and financial interests who are involved in that. So we'll see what happens. But basically, a lot of this is going to be decided later this month, July 21st through the 30th or 31st. I don't know how many days are in July. But that window is when a lot of this is going to be decided and pushed by people who are actually actively mining Bitcoin. And it's those, and that's the time frame that we have to figure out what's going to be most likely to occur with Bitcoin moving forward. And then August 1st is kind of the deadline when it when it goes into effect, basically. So SegWit 2x is likely to happen, and the hard fork is unlikely to happen, I believe. A lot of other pundits are suggesting that that's the case as well. So we'll see how it goes. But we should go ahead and describe the hard fork. A hard fork already happened to Ethereum. That's why there's Ethereum and there's Ethereum Classic. And I'm holding a little bit of both. I actually got into Ethereum during the fire sale this week. I sold a bunch of Ethereum at 420, and then it promptly crashed down to, like, I don't know, I guess at one point it was even trading for $15 on some exchanges or something. But I don't know anybody who got to take advantage of that. But if you did, good for you, sir, or madam. Good for you. Yeah, but Ethereum is back up to, it was trading right around 200 earlier today, and I got back into Ethereum in a pretty heavy way a couple days ago, when it was, I think it got down to like 150, 160, somewhere in there. So yeah, so I'm already up $40-50 per Ethereum from my buying on the fire sale. I bought in a few other things as well. But definitely Ethereum was one where I had significantly lightened my portfolio, and I decided to reinvest in that during the low price opportunity that was presented to me yesterday, last night, and the night before, while I was online with my good friends and the Random Tandems live YouTube stream that he does. A lot of cool people come in there. A News Unit, Iron Fist. I mean, I feel like some of these people are sort of my buddies now after hanging out with them online and talking about trades and talking about what trades we were making and stuff like that. So, yeah, so the hard fork basically is if they can't reach an agreement with these Bitcoin changes, then at that point, because it's open source software and it's not actually a car, this is where the car metaphor breaks down for this sort of thing, they can actually just clone the software and say, okay, we're going to make our own new car over here, and we're going to adjust the carburetor how we want on that new car. And you can go along with the old car and keep it, and keep the carburetor however you want. So that's what the hard fork would be like. It would be like that kind of metaphor. And basically, you know, at that point there would be two different Bitcoins. The way it happened with Ethereum is there was Ethereum 1 got to keep the Ethereum name and implement some of the changes that they wanted to. And then there's Ethereum Classic that kept pretty much the same as Ethereum was. Speaking of Ethereum Classic, huge gains on that. Went from like $12 to $18. So, I mean, it's up like 30% or something over the last 24 hours. So, which I've been advocating for Ethereum Classic for a while. I like it. I like Ethereum Classic. I think its metrics look good. It looks promising all around. So, yeah, so that's what the hard fork would be, is there would be two different Bitcoins. If that occurs, that could drastically affect the price of Bitcoin, right? So we'll see about that. But most pundits don't think that that's likely. So, all right, so I hope that some of those explanations helped you a little bit. I hope some of you took advantage of the fire sale yesterday. And there's vlog 12 in the bag. I'll be recording vlog 13 from the road tomorrow. I'm driving down the 1 down to San Diego. Gonna go visit some good friends down there. So love you all. Have a great day. Keep on surfing, internet fam.